Well, people all over the North are coming together to talk about mining this week. It is the 42nd Annual Geoscience Forum in Yellowknife. People will be talking about everything from where to open a mine to how to safely close one down. Steve Day works with SRK Consulting in Vancouver. He's giving workshops this Thursday and Friday on water quality, and he's looking at when rain or snow comes into contact with mine waste and how to predict the quality of that water. He joins me now in the studio to explain. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for coming in today.
It's good to be here.
Why do you want to predict the quality of water that comes into contact with mine waste?
Well, there are two reasons why we need to do that. The first is that when we're designing a mine, we want to minimize the effects on water quality. So the first thing that happens is that we use the predictions to help the mine engineers to design the mine so we minimize water quality effects. The second reason is that we also need to assess the environmental impact of the project on the environment. So we use the predictions to predict downstream water quality effects.
So what are some of the things that you use to measure the predictions?
Well, we can do all sorts of things, and one of the things that we always remember, or we have to remember to do, is treat each site uniquely. So we come up with a different way of doing it each time. But we have all sorts of things we can do. We sample the materials that will be exposed during mining, and we have lab tests that we can do on them. We often use field tests as well to try and simulate what will actually go on under field conditions. So there's a number of things that we can do.
So what are you going to be teaching at your workshop?
Well, the workshop is something that I've given a number of times before, but it's designed to help people working in this industry, mining people that work for the mines, work for the mining companies, the regulators, other people that are interested in mining. We're going to start from basics about the chemistry of what happens when water comes in contact with mine wastes, and going to go step through the things that happen, what will change the water quality, and then how do we predict it, the methods that we can use to limit water quality effects, and just understanding the whole process from the very basics.
The impact of mining on water is a big concern to people here. What do you say to people who are concerned about it?
Well, one of the things I would say is that the mining industry has learned a lot over the last few decades about the issue of what happens when water comes in contact with mine wastes. A lot of historical mines had problems with this. And beginning in the sort of 1970s and 1980s, a lot of work was done on technologies that could be used to limit water quality effects. And what we do is, when modern mines are designed, is that a number of different ways of managing waste are used to limit these water quality effects. So that a concern might be, well, you're only going to do one thing, but actually often there's a series of things that we can do to manage water quality.
What are some of those methods?
Well, one of the things that we talk about in the workshop is a problem that a lot of people will have heard of. It's called acid mine drainage or acid rock drainage. And what this is it's when water that comes into contact with mine wastes becomes acidic. And one of the things that we've learnt that is a very good way of dealing with that is to actually exclude oxygen from the waste. So that and one of the ways we can do that is to actually get the waste underwater. And that's one of the technologies we've been familiar with for decades. But it's one that we incorporate into modern mine design. And there are a number of other things we can do, but that's one of the big ones.
And your work as a consultant looks at both environmental concerns and the concerns of big business. How do you reconcile those two? Well,
the concerns of big business, of course, are to when you say big business, you're meaning the mining companies, of course. Of course, it's about economics. You want to obviously you want to mine and mine to make some money. And what mining companies realized, going back a few decades now, is that there are results from mining that can cost a lot of money to address. So the need to protect the environment can be factored in early in the mine development, and those measures can save money later on. So there's a consistency there that if you can design the mine to protect the environment, then you can also lower costs in the long term as well. So there's a balance there, but that there is a consistency in that.
So you work all over the north, it sounds like.
Yes.
What are some projects or some regions that you find yourself in?
Well, I work all through the north. I actually spend quite a bit of time in Alaska, but I've worked in the Yukon and Northwest Territories and Nunavut, and also into Northern Ontario and Quebec as well. And the projects that people will be familiar with here that I'm involved in are ICATI, and I was involved in the early days of Diavik as well.
Okay. And when you are traveling around and you're, going to these different regions, do you find that the concerns from region to region differ, or No,
they're the same everywhere. Everybody is concerned about water quality. They want to make sure that when a mine is developed, that it can be done in a way that protects the environment. So that's consistent. Everybody wants that.
Well, thank you very much for coming in the studio today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
And that was Steve Day. He works with SRK Consulting. They're an international consulting company that provide advice and solutions to the mining sector. He is in Yellowknife for the Geosciences Forum.